Now, moving on to our next story, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's senior advisor responds to accusations of flouting lockdown rules. He said that he does not regret what he did. He added that he has not offered to resign and will not consider it. He further added that he dealt with the situation in a way that created the least amount of risk to the people concerned. Now, before we get to the details of the press conference, let's look at the accusations in detail. Cummings has been under pressure since media reported that he had travelled from London to Durham in northern England in late March. He had travelled at a time when the UK was under a nationwide lockdown, which was put in place to limit the spread of coronavirus. Now, he travelled when his wife was showing COVID-19 symptoms, and the trip fueled anger among people who had been adhering to the government's guidelines. In the press conference, he elaborated on the series of events. Cummings said that he was worried about the safety of his wife and child at home in London. Remember, he was subjected to threats of violence on social media. He decided to seek a temporary shelter at the secluded cottage on his family's estate before he returned to London to work. He also clarified that he did not consult Prime Minister Boris Johnson before taking this decision. He defended himself by saying that legal rules do not cover all circumstances. Listen in.
I can understand that some people will argue that I should have stayed at my home in London throughout. I understand these views. I know the intense hardship and sacrifice that the entire country has had to go through. However, I respectfully disagree.
Now, Cummings not only said that he doesn't regret his actions, he also said that public anger has been caused by false media reports. Listen in.
No, I don't regret what I did. As I said, I think reasonable people may well disagree about how I thought about what to do in these circumstances, but I think that what I did was actually reasonable in these circumstances. In terms of the rules, I think that the rules make clear that if you're dealing with small children, then that can be exceptional circumstances. And I think that the situation that I was in was exceptional circumstances. And I think that the way that I dealt with it was the least risk to everybody concerned if my wife and I had both been unable to look after our 4-year-old.
We are being joined by our London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark, live from London for more on this. Good evening to you, Mandy. So we have seen Dominic Cummings saying that he does not regret what he did, and he's added that he has not offered to resign and he will not reconsider this.
That is absolutely Dominic Cummings' position. The biggest problem he has is this. There is a perception now that the Conservative government, which always leans a bit right-wing, is back to the old boys club, that they have one rule for them and another rule for the regular people. So he was allowed to interpret the rules as he wanted to, so he could go to his farm and have a place to stay. That's fine, but for many, many people who live in cities and towns, they never had that option. They don't have the big family farm where they can go to, and it goes categorically against what was repeatedly said during that time. It was stay at home, save lives, protect the NHS, a message that he himself crafted. That is the bigger issue. The Daily Mail, which is a right-wing paper, headline today was screaming, "What planet are they on?" in reference to Boris Johnson and Dominic Cummings. He is notoriously anti-media, so we heard again those accusations of fake news. But when a journalist did say, look, you're blaming the media, your own scientific body says your ability to reinterpret the message to your liking is going to put more lives at risk. He didn't have a lot to say. So he held a press conference. He tried to come as sincere as possible, and I think a lot of people who would listen to it would have felt and sympathized with him. But it didn't get past the message that there's one rule for some people and another rule for other people, and that will go against their very new base, which is more average people, working class. It's not, and it shouldn't be, the old Tory base.
Right. Do as I say and not as I do. He has also clarified that he did not consult Prime Minister Boris Johnson before taking the decision. Is there a reaction from Number 10?
There isn't a reaction. He did put it into context. So at that time, the Prime Minister had just gone into hospital. It was a very dangerous time because the Prime Minister also went into intensive care. He said there's many parts of his job where he has to make daily decisions whether to consult the Prime Minister or not about hundreds of things. And then one of the most valuable thing the Prime Minister has is his time. He believed he made the best possible decision and doesn't regret not consulting his boss. Lots of journalists repeatedly said, don't you think you should have consulted his boss? He still believes he had made the right decision. And as he said, he doesn't believe he should quit. So the bigger question now, is this story going to end? Has he put a line under it? Or as many people feel, he gauged the mood of the nation wrong, that people have made enormous amounts of sacrifice to adhere to their rules, ones that he openly flouted. And if this continues, the bigger question is, will he be able to survive?
Andy, thank you for that report. That's our London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark, bringing us the latest there from London. Now, China is all set to deploy high-altitude unmanned drones to monitor the border region in Tibet. Chinese media has reported that the unmanned drone, which can relay real-time information, has completed its maiden test flight. China's first unmanned helicopter drone has been designed to fly in plateau areas. It is capable of firing and conducting reconnaissance from a high altitude. The AR-500C unmanned helicopter has the ability to relay communication from a high altitude. It could help safeguard China's southwestern borders with India in Tibet. Now, the new drone and its deployment are part of the aggressive narrative put forward by China that it's India which is to blame for the soaring tension at the border in Sikkim and Ladakh sectors.